What if the reason you have not yet received what you deeply desire is not that life has forgotten you, but that you have been reaching for it from a place of fear? Perhaps there is something you have carried quietly in your heart for a long time. A loving relationship, a sense of purpose, a peaceful home, healing from an old wound, a new beginning that finally allows you to breathe again. You have imagined it. You have prayed for it. You may have worked toward it, waited for it, and wondered why it continues to remain beyond your reach. And beneath that wondering, there may be a question you rarely say aloud. What is wrong with me? Why does life seem to move forward for everyone else while I remain standing in the same place? You look at another person's life and assume they have discovered a secret that you missed. They appear loved, certain, successful, confident, and guided. Meanwhile, you may feel as though you are standing outside a locked door, trying every key you can find. So you push harder. You think more. You attempt to control every detail. You search for signs. You replay conversations. You worry about timing. You question whether you are positive enough, spiritual enough, disciplined enough, or worthy enough. But what if attraction is not something you accomplish through pressure? What if the harder you try to force life, the further you move from the inner state in which life can flow through you? There is an important difference between desiring something from love and needing it from fear. Love says, "This would be a beautiful expression of my life." Fear says, "Without this, my life cannot be complete." The desire may look identical on the outside, but the consciousness beneath it is entirely different. When you believe that something outside you must arrive before you can feel whole, you place your peace in the hands of circumstances. You begin postponing your life. You tell yourself that you will relax when the answer comes. You will feel worthy when someone chooses you. You will trust life when life finally gives you evidence that it can be trusted. You will become grateful when you receive what you have been asking for. But peace that is always postponed becomes increasingly difficult to recognize. The loving presence within you is not waiting for the world to change. It is here now, beneath the noise of your thoughts, beneath the memories that still ache, and beneath the identity you have created around what has not yet happened. You may not always feel this presence, but you have probably touched it. Perhaps you felt it while watching the sky change color at the end of the day. Perhaps it appeared during a quiet moment after you had finished crying when there was nothing left to resist. You may have noticed it while walking beneath trees, listening to rain, holding the hand of someone you love, or sitting alone without needing to explain yourself. For a moment, you were not trying to become anything. You were not measuring your progress. You were not asking whether you were enough. You were simply present. That presence is closer to your true nature than the anxious voice telling you that something is missing. You are not merely a personality trying to collect enough approval, achievement, love, or security to survive. At the deepest level, you are a spiritual being participating in a human experience. The world may affect your emotions, but it does not create the essence of who you are. Your deepest desires may not have appeared merely to make you chase an external outcome. They may be invitations to remember qualities that already exist within you. Your desire for a loving relationship may be inviting you to become more loving toward yourself. Your longing for freedom may be asking you to release your dependence upon approval. Your wish for a new beginning may be calling you to forgive the past. Your desire for purpose may be asking you to become quiet enough to hear what your life has been whispering beneath the noise. The object of your desire is visible, but the spiritual invitation beneath it is often hidden. Imagine holding a seed tightly in your hand because you are afraid of losing it. You want it to grow, yet you refuse to release it into the soil. You keep checking it, protecting it, and demanding that it become a flower. But the seed cannot open while it is being clenched. It needs space. It needs darkness. It needs water, patience, and trust. Your desires may be like that seed. They do not always need more pressure. Sometimes they need a gentler place within you where they can take root. This does not mean becoming passive. It does not mean pretending that disappointment does not hurt. It does not mean sitting still while hoping that the universe will arrange your life for you. It means learning to hold an intention without turning it into an obsession. You can care deeply and still remain peaceful. You can move towards something and still trust the journey. You can ask life for what you desire while remaining open to the possibility that the source may answer in a form wiser than the one you imagined. The river does not force its way through every stone. It continues flowing. It adjusts without losing its nature. It does not interpret every obstacle as rejection. It simply remains faithful to its movement toward the ocean. Perhaps your life is inviting you to move in the same way. There are 5 inner steps that can help you relate to desire differently. They are not techniques for controlling the universe. They are movements of consciousness that bring you back into harmony with the loving intelligence from which you came. The first step is to discover the feeling beneath your desire. The second is to release the belief that you are incomplete without the outcome. The third is to embody the quality you have been seeking outside yourself. The fourth is to forgive the past and surrender your insistence upon one particular result. The fifth is to listen within and take inspired action from peace rather than fear. These steps are not about becoming someone else. They are about remembering who you were before fear convinced you that you were not enough. The first step is to discover the feeling beneath your desire. You may believe that you are pursuing a person, a career, a home, an achievement, or a particular form of success, but beneath the external desire, you are usually seeking an inner experience. Suppose you desire a relationship. You may say that you want a particular person, but beneath that longing may be a desire to feel chosen, understood, safe, and loved. Suppose you want a new direction in life. Beneath that desire may be a longing to feel free, useful, alive, or connected to something meaningful. Suppose you want someone to apologize. Beneath that wish may be a need for your pain to be acknowledged and your experience to be validated. Suppose you desire financial abundance. Perhaps what you are really seeking is relief from fear, the freedom to make choices, or the ability to care for the people you love. There is nothing wrong with any of these longings. They are human, but when you identify the feeling beneath the form, you begin to reclaim your spiritual power. Ask yourself gently, what do I believe this desire will allow me to feel? Do not rush to answer. Become still. The answer may be peace. It may be love, freedom, belonging, worthiness, security, recognition, or joy. Then ask a second question. Is there a small way I can begin offering this quality to myself now? This question does not deny the external desire. It simply loosens the belief that you must remain emotionally empty until it arrives. Perhaps you cannot make another person understand you, but you can begin listening to your own feelings without judgment. Perhaps you cannot force the future to reveal itself, but you can create one peaceful moment today. Perhaps you cannot change what happened, but you can stop using the past as evidence that you are unworthy of love. Perhaps you cannot immediately leave every difficult circumstance, but you can stop speaking to yourself as though you are powerless. This is awareness in action. Awareness does not always remove a painful thought. It allows you to see the thought without becoming completely identified with it. You may notice the thought, I am being left behind. Instead of accepting it as an unquestionable truth, you can pause and say, there is a frightened part of me that believes I am being left behind. That small shift creates space. You are no longer the fear itself. You are the presence noticing the fear. The sky is not damaged by the clouds moving across it. In the same way, your true spiritual nature is not damaged by every anxious thought passing through your mind. Many of your thoughts are not prophecies, they are echoes. They are habits of protection formed during moments when you felt unseen, rejected, criticized, or unsafe. Perhaps you learned early that love had to be earned. You became helpful, quiet, successful, pleasing, or emotionally invisible. You studied the moods of the people around you and learned how to avoid disappointing them. That pattern may once have helped you feel safe, but later it may have become the habit of abandoning yourself. You say yes when your inner wisdom is saying no. You take responsibility for everyone's emotions. You believe that honesty will lead to rejection. You become so focused on being chosen that you no longer ask whether the life you are choosing is aligned with your own soul. Then you wonder why receiving what you desire does not bring peace. The answer may be that the person pursuing the desire has become separated from their own truth. You cannot live in harmony with the source while repeatedly betraying the quiet wisdom within you. This does not mean becoming harsh, selfish, or indifferent to others. It means remembering that your own presence is also worthy of your love. When you recognize the feeling beneath your desire, you are no longer chasing blindly. You begin understanding what your soul is truly asking you to remember. The second step is to release the belief that you are incomplete without the outcome. This belief often hides beneath determination. You may say, I am simply focused on what I want. But beneath that focus, your body may be tense, your thoughts may be restless. Every delay may feel personal. Every closed door may seem like proof that life is against you. You begin looking for signs everywhere. One encouraging message fills you with hope. One period of silence sends you into despair. One opportunity makes you believe everything is changing. One rejection convinces you that nothing ever will. Your emotional state rises and falls according to circumstances you cannot fully control. This becomes exhausting because you have given the outer world responsibility for your inner peace. Releasing the belief of incompleteness does not mean pretending that you never feel lonely, disappointed, or uncertain. You do not have to deny the ache. You can acknowledge the longing honestly while remembering that the longing is not the whole of who you are. You might say, I still desire this, but I will not use its absence as a reason to reject myself. There is freedom in that sentence. It allows desire to remain without becoming desperation. It creates room for hope without turning hope into self-punishment. Think of the way water rests in open hands. When your palms are relaxed, the water can remain. When you squeeze your fingers tightly, it escapes through the spaces between them. The harder you grip, the less you are able to hold. This is often true in relationships. You may become so afraid of losing someone that you attempt to control their attention, their feelings, or their choices. You reread their messages. You analyze changes in their tone. You imagine what you can say or become to prevent them from leaving. But beneath the fear of losing the relationship may be a deeper fear. You are afraid that their departure would say something about your worth. Yet another person's ability to recognize your value does not create your value. Their presence may bring joy, tenderness, and companionship. Their absence may bring genuine grief, but neither can add to or subtract from the divine essence of who you are. When you forget this, love becomes negotiation. You give in order to receive. You hide your truth to avoid rejection. You remain silent so someone else will continue choosing you. Attachment says this person must remain exactly as I need them to be, or I cannot be at peace. Love says I care deeply, but I will not abandon my soul in order to control what life does. The same attachment can appear in your search for success. Perhaps you carry an image of how your life should look by now. You believe that by a certain age you would be more established, more certain, more financially secure, or more fulfilled. Then life moved differently. A door closed. A plan changed. A relationship ended. Your energy shifted. The identity that once gave you confidence no longer seemed to fit. The ego interprets these changes as failure. It compares your unseen struggles with another person's visible achievements and says, they are moving forward. You are falling behind. But life is not a single road on which everyone must reach the same milestones at the same time. A tree does not compare its season of stillness with another tree's season of flowering. It does not call itself unsuccessful because its branches are bare in winter. It trusts a rhythm that cannot yet be seen. You also move through unseen seasons. There are moments when life asks you to expand and moments when it asks you to become quiet. There are seasons of connection and seasons of solitude. There are times when answers arrive quickly and times when the deeper lesson is learning to live peacefully without them. You are not incomplete because your life does not resemble someone else's life. You are not behind because your path contains a different rhythm. You do not need to hate your present in order to create a new future. Fear says, I must escape this moment before I can be happy. Love says, I can meet this moment fully, and from this presence I can choose my next step. When you stop asking the outcome to complete you, you become free to pursue it without losing yourself. The third step is to embody the quality you wish to experience. This is where attraction becomes more than wishing. It becomes a way of being. If you desire love, ask yourself how love can move through you today. This does not mean pleasing everyone or tolerating behavior that harms you. Love may appear as tenderness, but it may also appear as a truthful boundary. Love may mean speaking kindly to yourself after making a mistake. It may mean refusing to continue a conversation that repeatedly diminishes your spirit. It may mean forgiving someone in your heart while choosing not to return to the situation in which you were wounded. If you desire peace, notice where you repeatedly create conflict within your own mind. Perhaps you replay an old conversation every morning. Perhaps you argue with people who are not even present. Perhaps you keep trying to prove your worth to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. Perhaps you begin each day by entering the noise of the world before you have spent even one moment listening to yourself. You can begin choosing peace before anyone else changes. If you desire freedom, notice where you are, waiting for permission. You may be hoping that your family, friends, partner, or society will approve of the person you are becoming. You tell yourself that you will finally live honestly when they understand. But the need for approval can become an invisible cage. The door may already be open, yet you remain inside because you are afraid of disappointing those who prefer the older version of you. Your true self is not asking you to rebel against others. It is inviting you to stop rebelling against your own soul. Consider a woman who has spent years trying to please her family. She chooses work they admire. She hides the parts of herself they may not understand. She says yes whenever they need her, even when she is exhausted. She believes that being loving means never creating disappointment. She desires freedom, but she waits for the people around her to approve of her choices. Each time she imagines living differently, guilt appears. The ego tells her that choosing herself makes her selfish. Then one morning, while sitting quietly, she recognizes something simple. She has been waiting for everyone else to give her permission to belong to herself. This awareness does not cause her to stop loving her family. It changes the way she loves them. She begins answering honestly. She stops making promises she cannot keep. She allows others to feel disappointed without interpreting their disappointment as proof that she has done something wrong. At first, this feels uncomfortable. Old patterns rarely disappear without protest. But gradually, she discovers a peace she had never known before. The freedom she desired did not begin when everyone understood her. It began when she stopped abandoning herself. This is what it means to embody the quality you seek. You do not wait for peace to arrive through perfect circumstances. You practice returning to peace within the circumstances you have. You do not wait for love to appear before becoming loving. You allow love to shape the way you speak, the way you listen, the boundaries you create, and the resentment you release. You do not wait for purpose to descend as a complete plan. You bring presence to the person before you, the task in your hands, and the life happening today. Purpose may be less like a destination and more like a quality of attention. When you live with presence, even an ordinary action can become meaningful. A conversation can become an opportunity to listen. A difficult decision can become an opportunity to honor your truth. A period of waiting can become an opportunity to develop trust. You are not becoming worthy by embodying love, peace, freedom, or gratitude. You are remembering that these qualities already belong to your deepest nature. A lamp does not create light by fighting darkness. It shines because light is what it carries. In the same way, you do not need to struggle against every fearful thought. You can become aware of it. You can ask what it is attempting to protect. Then you can gently return to the presence beneath it. When you become what you wish to receive, you stop sending life the message that the quality is absent. You stop saying, "I will become peaceful," when peace arrives. You begin saying, "I will bring peace to this moment, and from that peace I will meet whatever comes next." The fourth step is forgiveness and surrender. There may be an old wound shaping what you believe you are able to receive. There may be resentment occupying the space where love is trying to grow. There may be a story you have repeated for so long that it has begun to feel like your identity. The past often continues not because it is still happening, but because a part of you is still demanding that it become different. You may know intellectually that a painful conversation is over, that a relationship has ended, or that a certain season cannot be recovered. Yet within your mind, you may still be negotiating with what happened. You imagine what should have been said. You create a different ending. You wait for an apology, an explanation, or a moment of recognition that may never come. This inner argument quietly influences what you believe is possible now. Perhaps someone betrayed your trust, and although you desire love, you remain prepared for abandonment. You interpret silence as rejection. You search for hidden meanings in ordinary words. You expect disappointment before it arrives because expecting pain feels safer than being surprised by it. This protection is understandable. It was formed by suffering. But a shield carried for too long can become a wall. And the wall that prevents sorrow from reaching you may also prevent tenderness from entering. Forgiveness is not an agreement that what happened was acceptable. It does not require you to deny your pain, excuse harmful behavior, or return to a situation that repeatedly asks you to abandon yourself. Forgiveness is the decision to stop allowing an old wound to direct your present life. It says, "I cannot change what happened, but I no longer wish to carry it into every new relationship, every new opportunity, and every quiet moment." This may not happen all at once. Some wounds are released gradually, like winter ice softening beneath the warmth of spring. You may forgive one layer and discover another beneath it. You may feel peaceful one day and angry the next. This does not mean you have failed. It means that healing is asking for patience. Perhaps forgiveness must begin with yourself. You may need to forgive yourself for remaining too long, for not seeing what now appears obvious, for trusting someone who was unable to honor your trust, for silencing your needs in order to preserve a relationship, for choices made before you possess the awareness you have today. The ego is often cruel when looking backward. It judges your past using the wisdom of your present and says you should have known, but perhaps you knew only what you were ready to know. You were moving through life with the understanding, fear, and emotional tools available to you at that time. You may have been searching for love in the only way you had learned. You may have confused sacrifice with devotion, approval with belonging, or control with safety. Awareness does not ask you to punish the person you once were. It invites you to hold that version of yourself with compassion. Imagine meeting your younger self in a quiet place. You see the fear they carried, the choices they made, and the love they were trying to find. Would you speak to them with the harshness you sometimes use within your own mind? Or would you sit beside them and say, you were doing the best you could with what you understood. You do not have to carry this alone anymore. Self-forgiveness creates room for new choices. Without it, you may continue asking for a different life while secretly believing you do not deserve one. You may ask for peace while repeatedly using the past as evidence against yourself. But the source does not relate to you through condemnation. The loving intelligence within you does not remind you of your mistakes in order to keep you small. It invites you to learn, release, and begin again. Surrender grows naturally from forgiveness. To surrender does not mean giving up on what matters. It means releasing the demand that life must unfold according to the exact picture in your mind. There is a difference between intention and insistence. Intention says, I am open to love, healing, clarity, abundance, and a life that reflects my deepest values. Insistence says, it must happen through this person at this time and in this particular way. The ego prefers insistence because specific outcomes create the illusion of control. It believes that if it can arrange every detail, it can avoid disappointment. But life is larger than the mind's plans. Sometimes the relationship you wanted would have required you to continue abandoning yourself. Sometimes the closed door protected you from a path that looked attractive but did not honor your spirit. Sometimes the delay was strengthening qualities you would need in the next season of your life. You may not be able to see this while you are waiting. A seed beneath the soil cannot see the garden it is becoming. From its hidden place, darkness may feel like abandonment. Yet something is moving. The shell is opening. Roots are forming before the first green shoot appears. There may be movements in your life that cannot yet be seen. Surrender is your willingness to remain open during that unseen growth. You can hold your desire gently and say, this is what I hope for, but I am willing to be guided. I do not know every path available to me. I trust that what is aligned with love will not continually require me to betray my truth. Trust is not a guarantee that life will always feel comfortable. It does not mean believing that nothing painful will happen. It means remembering that whatever happens can be met from a deeper place within you. You may experience loss and still remain connected to love. You may feel uncertain and still remain present. You may grieve a closed door without deciding that your life has ended. The ocean does not stop being the ocean because a storm moves across its surface. Deep beneath the waves, there is stillness. You also contain a depth that anxiety cannot entirely disturb. The fifth step is to listen within and take inspired action. Surrender is not the end of action. It is the end of action driven by panic. When you release some of your need to control, you become able to hear a quieter form of guidance. It rarely arrives as a dramatic voice telling you exactly what to do. It may appear as a gentle knowing, a repeated inner feeling, an unexpected moment of clarity, or a peaceful pull toward one honest step. The ego speaks urgently. It says, do something now or you will lose your chance. Inner guidance usually speaks softly. It says, this is the truthful step. Take it without abandoning yourself. Fear-driven action carries tension. You may feel compelled to send another message, explain yourself again, force an answer, or make a decision simply to escape uncertainty. The action may bring temporary relief, But the restlessness soon returns because the action did not arise from alignment. It arose from your desire to silence fear. Inspired action has a different quality. It may still require courage. It may involve calling someone, asking for help, beginning a project, applying for an opportunity, setting a boundary, or leaving a familiar pattern. But it does not feel like self-betrayal. It feels honest. Sometimes inspired action is not outward movement at all. It may be the decision to wait without obsessing. It may be choosing silence instead of defending yourself. It may be allowing someone to misunderstand you rather than exhausting yourself trying to control their opinion. It may be resting when the ego says your value depends upon constant productivity. Alignment is not passivity. It is action arising from presence rather than panic. You do not need to know the entire path. You only need enough awareness to recognize the next step that does not require you to betray your peace. A river does not receive a complete map before it begins to flow. It meets each curve as it comes. It moves around stones, passes through narrow places, and continues toward an ocean it cannot yet see. You can live this way too. Hold your intention. Take the next honest step. Remain open to redirection. Release what repeatedly asks you to become smaller than you are. The gardener does not pull at a plant to make it grow. The gardener creates the conditions in which growth can happen. The soil is prepared. Water is offered. Weeds are removed. Sunlight is welcomed. Then nature is trusted to accomplish what force cannot. You can create inner conditions in the same way. Awareness prepares the soil. Forgiveness removes what has been choking the roots. Love brings warmth. Intention plants the seed. Inspired action becomes the daily care. Surrender allows life to unfold through an intelligence greater than your immediate understanding. This is attraction viewed through a spiritual lens. It is not commanding the source to obey the personality. It is bringing the personality into harmony with the source. When your thoughts say, I am unworthy, awareness invites you to remember the presence within you that cannot be diminished by another person's judgment. When fear says, I must control the future, trust reminds you that you have already survived moments you once believed you could not face. When resentment says, I cannot be free until they understand what they did, forgiveness whispers, your freedom does not require their participation. When the ego says you are not enough without this desire, love answers. You were whole before the desire appeared, and you will remain whole whatever form life takes. From this wholeness, desire becomes lighter. You can still hope. You can still ask, create, move, and open your heart. But you no longer ask the outcome to define you. You begin to recognize that what is deeply aligned with your spirit may challenge you to grow, but it will not continually require you to abandon your truth. And when something does not unfold as you hoped, you can grieve it without making grief your permanent home. Perhaps one day you will look back and see that life was not withholding love from you. It was teaching you to stop seeking love through fear. It was not punishing you through uncertainty. It was showing you that peace could exist before certainty arrived. Perhaps what you wanted was one particular form of happiness. What your soul was seeking was freedom from the belief that happiness had only one form. These 5 steps become real through ordinary practice. Each morning, before reaching for the noise of the world, give yourself a few moments of stillness. Feel your breath. Allow your thoughts to come and go without trying to repair your entire life. Then ask, what quality do I wish to bring into this day? Not, what must I accomplish before I can respect myself? Not, what must happen before I can feel grateful? Simply ask, how do I choose to be? Perhaps the answer is peaceful, patient, loving, courageous, honest, open, then carry that quality into one ordinary moment. If you choose peace, practice it while waiting in traffic or listening to someone who disagrees with you. If you choose love, allow it to shape the way you speak to yourself after making a mistake. If you choose trust, permit one unanswered question to remain unanswered for another day. Small moments of alignment gradually transform the way you experience your life. Gratitude can also return you to the present. Gratitude does not ask you to pretend that everything is easy. It reminds you that difficulty is not the only thing here. There is still breath in your body. There may be sunlight touching a wall, water in your hands, a familiar voice, a quiet room, or one more opportunity to begin again. When you notice these things, you are not ignoring your desires. You are loosening the belief that life contains nothing valuable until those desires are fulfilled. Whenever you feel yourself becoming tense around an outcome, pause and ask, am I holding this with love or am I gripping it with fear? Do not judge the answer. When you discover fear, meet it gently. Fear often softens when it is seen without shame. You can place a hand over your heart and remember, I do not need to know everything in order to be present. I do not need to control everyone in order to feel safe within myself. At the end of the day, notice what you are still carrying. A harsh word, an old memory, something you wish you had done differently, someone whose behavior disturbed your peace. You do not need to solve everything before sleeping. You might simply say, I am willing to loosen my grip on this. I am willing to stop carrying it in the same way. Forgiveness often begins with willingness long before it becomes a feeling. And when the future remains unclear, return to trust. Trust does not mean that you know what will happen. It means that you are willing to believe you can be guided through what you cannot yet see. The 5 steps are not really movements away from who you are. They are movements back toward yourself. You discover the feeling beneath the desire. You release the belief that you are incomplete. You embody the quality you seek. You forgive the past and surrender your demand for one particular outcome. And you listen for the quiet guidance that leads without forcing. Through all of this, you are not creating a new soul. You are remembering the presence that has always existed beneath fear. Perhaps what you desire will arrive in the form you imagined. Perhaps it'll enter through another doorway. Perhaps the desire itself will change as you become more aware. But whatever unfolds, you will have discovered something the ego could never give you. The freedom to be at peace before the answer arrives. And from that peace, your life becomes less like a demand and more like a prayer. Less like a struggle against the current and more like a willingness to flow with the wisdom of the source. So breathe gently. You have not been forgotten. You are not behind. You are not incomplete. The love you have been seeking is already moving within you. The peace you have been waiting for is already quietly present. And the wisdom guiding your next step may be closer than the thoughts telling you to search somewhere else. Before you leave, place one word in the comments, the quality you are choosing to embody today. Peace, love, trust, freedom, courage. Let that word become more than a comment. Let it become your intention. And if these reflections bring you closer to the quiet truth within, subscribe and return whenever you need to remember who you are beneath fear. May you hold your desires gently. May you release what fear has taught you to grip. May you trust the unseen growth taking place within your life. And may you remember that when you live in harmony with love, you are already connected to the source of everything your soul has truly been seeking.